How are you going to recreate yourself?
Yeah. So environmental-wise, is REC as a mine, has it been, like, I don't know how to word it, but REC, has it been, like, did they clean up environmentally, or are they still an impact to our environment? Or
I'm not an expert on the silicon industry, so I don't have any real good data. I do know that the environmental laws that they are subject to were developed later, and that in order to be compliant with existing environmental laws, they have to run a cleaner operation. When the Anaconda Company was running all of the mines around here, and the smelter and the Berkeley pit was going full bore, those environmental laws did not yet exist in a way that kind of compelled them to do the right thing.
Young people have a way of getting into subjects that adults don't. And you guys can do something that we couldn't do. You can affect so many people's thinking, and you can get them to think about things that maybe they've never thought about before. So media is an incredibly powerful tool. What are some of the subject matters that have come to mind that you might want to explore? Okay. Hunting.
Haunting.
Haunting. Oh, like Haunting.
Book about, it's called Spooky Montana.
we're doing ghost hunting.
You're doing what?
Ghost hunting.
Oh, cool. What ones have you zeroed in on so far?
Oh, we had an app on the iPod that decoded what the ghosts were saying, and then it said her name at the end before we left the courthouse. So she got all freaked out. And then the elevator doors that almost slammed on us at the courthouse too, so.
Freaking me out.
And then we had nightmares.
Ghost group is going to have to figure out how they're going to show ghost stories on film or in a visual way, which could be a little bit challenging.
What are some of the tools you used?
Well, I don't really know what they're called, but we have an app on the iPod that decodes what the ghosts are saying. And then we have these things that are like sticks, and then when energy, like a ghost passes by them, they cross. And then we have a thing that beeps when there's a ghost by it.
Oh, we had it's an electron thing, and next to like a huge power box, it's beeping really fast, and then like next to a power outage or power cord thing, it was just beeping. And when we were by the candy machine, it went off really, really hard. So.
The candy machine?
Yeah, there's a ghost on the candy machine.
Okay. The kids sitting and talking about their ghost stories and going to places that used to be something that isn't anything anymore. There are so many buildings that are empty that truly are ghosts, and all of the ghost signage painted on the side of the buildings about hotels that were here, or beer that was here, or bakeries that were here. I think it's all just going to come together on its own. I think it's actually, I'm feeling like it's got a life of its own almost right now. And the thing I really want to focus on for myself personally is not restricting them in any way creatively, and not have a preconceived notion about what the end result's going to be. I want it to just grow on its own.
Several people and buildings in Butte have disappeared, but their history still lives on.
Jessica, Andy, and Willie have witnessed this as they went ghost hunting in many historical places in Butte.
The courthouse is famous for its hauntings, and nearly 30 men were hung on the gallows.
Present and Old Courthouse of Butte has been a place of supernatural activity for decades. One of the most notable cases of a haunting is that of Miles Fuller. He was found guilty of murdering his partner, Henry J. Gallagher, on October 24, 1904, by Judge Michael Dahlman. He was sentenced to hang on the gallows.
Miles was accused of murdering his partner on West Park Street. The two of them had a mining claim together. The partner supposedly tried to put strychnine in Fuller's sugar. Fuller retracted once he realized what had happened by using a pickaxe to beat his partner to death. The police arrested Fuller, and they almost drug him to the jail. He was tried very quickly, and he was at that point in time found guilty, and he was hung about a month later. Not much was ever known about his early life. Fuller is said to haunt his past courtroom, now the present-day personnel office in the courthouse.
At the courthouse, I always felt like something was behind me.
When we were in the courthouse, when we walked into the elevator, it just slammed on him. To see that happen is one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had. And I think that the ghosts that were slammed the elevator and stuff just wanted Josh out.
I think they just wanted to let us know that they were there.
I felt that. I'm getting out of here.
Jailhouse Coffee's oldest still standing building in Butte. Not only is it haunted, but also rich in history. One of the prisoners of this jail was Jay Miller, a serial killer. It is rumored that he haunts the back right corner of the building where his cell may have been located. Jailhouse Coffee was the first city hall in Butte. It featured a courthouse and a jail underneath. The building is mostly still intact, but much of the top floors are gone, but still, for being the oldest building in Butte, it is in great shape.
We were in Jailhouse Coffee. We were walking to the back room there, and we heard the slam of poles go. They were like a ringing sound and stuff, and so I walked back there to see what it was, and when I walked back there was like a laugh type thing.
Willie's thermometer measured my hands to be 82 degrees when I just came in from outside. When we went downstairs when I was warm again to the haunted part of the building, they were about 70 degrees.
Also, inside the Jailhouse Coffee, where their freezer is, it is supposedly, there's like a foundation down there of where the jail might have been. There's also a boarded up tunnel down there where it could have led to the courthouse.
At Jailhouse, I could always hear giggling.
Yeah, me too.
Anselmo and Stuart mineyards have experienced tragedies. All mining in the day was hard and dangerous work. Many miners lost their lives and still haunt the abandoned mine sites. Miners lived in boarding houses, and they spent the majority of their day underground. Because they were so far underground, escaping tragedy was likely impossible. Tragedies like the Granite Mountain disaster took hundreds of lives, but their spirits live on.
I remember when we were in the Anselmo locker rooms, I felt like something was squeezing in my throat and I couldn't breathe. I started hyperventilating. I just had to get out of there. It was too scary. I hated Anselmo. I hate Anselmo. Oh my gosh, I never want to go back there again.
In the Stuart mine, for me, I could always feel like something was touching my feet or grabbing my ankles. And that's why I was always kind of looking at my feet when we were in there. Is because I felt like something was just touching my shoes like this, you know, they were just kind of going like that, touching it. And it felt really weird. They didn't want anybody to come in because of what was happening down there. Miners getting hurt, people dying, you know.
Not all the haunted places in Butte are in disrepair. The Butte Silverbow Public Library is supposedly haunted by the old librarian, Granville Stewart. When the old library burned down, Granville moved with his books to the current library. Granville was one of the progressive men of Montana. He published several books during his lifetime and was known as a brilliant person.
Even at the library, you could feel things like brushing your face, and my hands are always cold here, even when I'm just getting a book.
Efforts are being made to preserve historical buildings in Butte. An example of this is the Phoenix Building. Pigeons currently call the building home, so they will have to be removed. Energy-efficient windows will be installed, and the upstairs will be remodeled to reflect its previous glory. 6 stories altogether in the Phoenix Building, and underneath the first story there are 2 more stories of basement. It's one of the tallest buildings in Butte, and it was actually one of the first tallest buildings in Butte. There were hotel rooms on the 5th and 6th floors and offices on the 3rd floor. Nonprofit public-type businesses were located on the 2nd floor. The Historical Society is in the process of getting grants to update the building. They're going to put an elevator back in, and they'll put brand new energy-efficient windows in, and they're going to try and get the pigeons out. It's a wonderful, beautiful building, but it's in strong disrepair.
Recently, the owners of the famous M&M Bar and Cafe tried to auction off the building's history.
The people of Butte were outraged that they may have to see one of their favorite haunts